What would you say if somebody came to you, they're doing telesales right now, they're struggling, they're wanting to hit 30,000 a month? Like what are some tactical things that you would advise them to be able to do that?
Obviously, like you get that one win before 12, and you just build that momentum. It's fantastic.
What would you say is your best telesales advice if somebody's wanting to like become a savage on the phone?
Have good infrastructure. If you don't have good infrastructure, you're just not gonna make it.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If we have not yet met, my name is Johnny Nitafin, and in today's video, I do have a top producer interview, somebody who's working final expense telesales, self-generated leads. We're going to be diving deep into why he went from selling over like in the field and setting appointments to now he's transitioned completely over the phone and selling final expense. Now he used to sell mortgage protection. Now he sells final expense, life insurance over the phone from anywhere in the world. So I want to dive straight into here. So Max, welcome to the channel, bro.
What up, Johnny? How are you doing, buddy?
Never better, bro. Never better, dude. So you're crushing it now, especially final expense telesales. Give us a brief like backstory into like your time in the insurance industry.
Yeah, well, I think we got started right around the same time. I met you at that event that starts with 4 letters, and you kind of bounced around from team to team, but I stood there for a bit. Am I allowed to say companies or like IMOs, or do I have to keep that hush hush because of NDAs or NCAs or shit like that?
No, you can talk about whatever.
Okay, could you see my tats? I just got my tats done.
Yeah.
Everyone see? Okay, as long as people can see, right? So yeah, started running MP sits right off the bat. We were doing direct mail because I guess digital leads like weren't really too common back then. This was like May 2022. Back when you could actually get away with calling off your cell phone. I know it wasn't even that long ago. It wasn't even 2 years ago, but it was so more simple doing virtual sales, right? Because we were doing Zooms, we were doing 2-sit closes on age leads. I mean, those don't exist anymore. I mean, the past 2 years, it's become so complicated to fucking sell insurance. It's ridiculous. You got to worry about, spam risk. You got to worry about local presence dialing. Now you got TCPI compliance. Now you got FCC compliance. It's like, oh my gosh, how do you get started now? But yeah, we were running, aged mortgage protection leads. I couldn't ever get people to show up, and when they showed up, like my closing rate was terrible because I didn't know anything about anything. I mean, I remember my first app. I got a HIPAA authorization with Moon. I'm like, yeah, I got my first app. I went to my upline, and he's like, that's not a fucking app, idiot. So I had to go back and get the other signature, which was a nightmare. So eventually, I got sick of the whole no-show thing, and I'm like, man, this is killing me. So I actually started going in home on aged leads in Florida, which let me tell you, that was a fun time. I kind of miss it. That was, that's. I got some
Why do you
stories.
like it so much?
It's just funny. I mean, like Florida people are wild. I mean, like it's another world down here. It's why I love it. Shout out Ron DeSantis. But man, when you're in the home, I mean, it's first of all, it's just so easy to close, right? So I think it's a great way for an agent to build their confidence in their book of business. But it's just inconvenient. I mean, shit, you get no showed. You're operating in the field, right? Or you get porched, as they say. It hurts a lot more because you can't just pick up the phone and start calling leads. I mean, you could go door knocking, you could still do something, but quality of life isn't there. Like, you're eating shitty foods typically if you're not packing your lunch. I don't have a beautiful wife to do that for me yet, so if any single ladies out there want to pack my lunch, by all means. But it's just not as there's pros and cons to every approach. But yeah, we started doing in-home, loved in-home, and then I had a hurricane hit Florida, and then I couldn't run in-home. I mean, imagine trying to set a freaking in-home appointment when everyone's preparing for a hurricane. You can imagine the things I was called, but I mean, I've heard worse. So then transferred over to virtual, and I actually had my best week. I think that week for MP, we put up around like 14,000. So I was like, shit.
Yeah,
maybe I should try this whole virtual thing out. So switched over to virtual, and then virtual I didn't really like so much because eventually when you're dealing with an older demographic, which you're going to deal with a lot of in Florida, you're going to run into people that have a hard time getting onto Zooms. And I'm like, if I'm getting them to already to show up, which is like fucking great, and then I have to get them onto a Zoom, and if they're semi agitated, it's just so much harder to get that app going all the way through. So then we just switched over to telesales, and then I started shifting over to final expense. I mean, and now self-generating, which is a lot better because I don't have any doubts about my leads. I mean,
Yeah.
with
Yeah, dude. Talk to us real quick about your transition from like face to face to like over Zoom, then over the phone. Like, what are some things that you feel like you did well and like a new agent wanting to transfer like and do that? What like advice you'd give them?
Well, first of all, work ethic. Okay, so I'm afraid I don't understand the question fully. I feel like you asked like 5 questions at once there. You gotta
Like what?
kind of
Like
break it down for me
how
a bit.
when you transition from selling over Zoom or like
Uh-huh.
selling in person to over Zoom then over the
Uh-huh.
phone? What's some advice that you could give like an agent wanting to do the same thing in transition?
Uh, I'd say you got to have enough cash flow to make like a drastic change like that. But like realistically, as long as your team has the experience and going from face to face to Zoom to Tele, I mean, you're gonna be fine, right? But like doing it on your own is gonna be kind of questionable. Um,
Yeah.
no, I'm not. I don't want to recruit anybody right now. Like absolutely not. Especially if you're a new agent. I'm not saying you're a bad person. I just don't have the patience for you. Sorry. Um, there's other IMOs you could join, but as long as your team's experienced in it, that's going to be good. It's it's going to be interesting to hear your opinion on this. But for an agent to start out doing telesales, I mean, because telesales is the hardest. I mean, they'll just hang up on you. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and you can't even get them. You can't even reason with them on a Zoom. At least there's a face-to-face connection. But telesales, man, it's that easy. Sales done, right? So it'd be nice if agents could cut their teeth on Zoom, or if they could cut their teeth in person. I know that's not the reality now, because what is it, like 92% of insurance is now sold over the
Yep.
phone.
Yeah.
But doing it alone would suck. But it'd be nice if you had some sort of sales experience, or you had experience calling leads in general. So I'd say get with a good team that's really, really experienced in telesales if you're going to make the transition. But I couldn't imagine going back in the home. I mean, occasionally it'd be nice, but like, I mean, you roll out of bed, drink a coffee, smoke a dart if you smoke darts, I don't know, and then you just get on the phone and just start ripping. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's the way
What are
to do it.
some Yeah, no, I think I agree, dude. Like it's like when you're just starting out, it's really good to find a way to be able to cut your teeth some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely.
And I think like all the best agents that I've seen like have gone into home at some point. And I don't think like you have to be successful, but I definitely think like getting your teeth cut and like learning the process is really important, especially how to do an electric application, like the
Oh
process
yeah.
of underwriting, the process of actually getting objections over the phone. Like those are huge components that you need to learn. And then you can really pivot well over the phone or just start doing that over the phone, but like have some savings to be able to start with so that you can scale to whatever capacity you want. But why have you really enjoyed selling over the phone now? What are like why initially did you actually start selling over the phone? Number one, and then number two, what have you really enjoyed being able to sell over the phone now?
Okay, so you're asking why I enjoy selling over the phone?
Like why'd you transition to start selling over the phone?
It's just man, like I really believe, unless it's like a big policy or has potential to be a big policy, a multi-step close is bullshit. Like it's
Yeah.
just like, if especially like, because like there's so many IMOs out there, and like what they'll do is like they'll work direct mail leads, and then they'll run telesales or virtual appointments. Okay, well, do people know about how much that costs in lead cost? Like, so you're going to be spending what, a grand or $800 a month? Not a month, sorry. I'd be nice. A week.
A week.
And then you're gonna, in an average show up rate is like 50%. And of that 50%, how is your closing ratio? How much is getting issued? I mean, like, if you can't get people to show up, you're screwed, right? So why not just take that variable out of there, right? You just
Yeah.
completely eliminate it by, if they pick up the phone, I'm not letting you off the phone until I submit that application, right?
Yeah.
And that's it's just so much easier, and it's so much less mentally taxing. I mean, it's nothing worse. I mean, we got to deal with enough rejection. We got to deal with enough objections. But if we could just get someone on the phone, keep them on the phone, and get the business right away, because man, these people, like, it's so hard to get them on the phone.
Yeah.
For them to pick up a second time, I mean, whew, That's tough.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I completely agree. Like if you're wanting to sell over the phone, like it's super crucial to one call close and not set appointments just because
Mhm.
like these people are getting bombarded like crazy. So if you get them on the phone, you want to close right away that
Yeah.
first appointment. Um, what are some like what was your mindset coming like into selling over the phone that really helped you like be successful pretty much from the jump?
It's just like, I mean, like it's the lamest thing. I hate like everyone like kind of overuses the term mindset, but it's just mindset. It's like, okay, like it's gonna be a transition. But I came in, very confident. I am like a pretty confident guy. It could kind of come across as douchey or abrasive, but I don't really give a shit. Um I mean, like, I already know I could sell, right? So, you just got to really focus on your tonality. You got to be a little more careful with what you say, and you just really, really got to stick to your script, because it's just less forgiving, right? And
Mhm.
like once when you kind of get more used to, the objections that you're going to get in telesales, and you just prepare for those, just like any other sales model, you'll be fine. But it's just you just got to understand that it's a lot more unforgiving, and that's just the way it is. I mean, you got to understand that maybe your persistency isn't going to be as high as an in person. That's the reality, but your chances are you're going to submit more business, you're going to issue more policies just because you're doing more volume. I mean, it's just the way it is,
Yeah, what are
and
some
and that's okay.
dude, yeah, and I think, like, that's really huge, like, one thing I wanna commend you on, like, that you do really well is, like, you do have an unbreakable mindset to where it's, like, nothing really can phase you, and it's because you've done the reps, it's because you've done the
I don't know
work,
about that.
and it's because you've actually, like, you've done it multiple times to where it's like, dude, like, it's just another objection, and it's like, and I need to think about it, I need to talk to my daughter, like, I don't have my banking info, but you're persistent, and you, like, consistently keep asking for the sale,
Hmm.
which is super important.
I mean, the one thing I like about you, Johnny, this is back when you were, like when we were ripping, but like you don't let no sales phase you. Like I get so pissed off, like it's just like that's the one thing I need to work on. Like, man, I get hung up on, or like someone like tells me to go somewhere and I get mad. I get too emotional about it. So when you say unfazed, I don't know if that was the right word, but like I will go for that close, and like I'm not gonna take like the first time they say something, like I don't even take it seriously. It's
Yeah,
the most
so let's
stupidest
talk
thing.
about objections real quick because
Okay.
you handle objections really well. So like what's your mindset when somebody says like I really I really don't like to make decisions right away. Like I don't really know if like I want to do this right now.
Oh, that's awesome, John. You actually don't have to do anything right now because I'm not even sure if you qualify right now. But just to make sure, you did just tell me that you did want to protect Bailey, right? That was important to you. You said
Yeah.
that, didn't you? Awesome. And you did mention that you didn't have any coverage in place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, wouldn't it make sense to at least see if we could get you qualified for this plan first? And then we could, we're always going to set up a secondary call to go over that plan again, to go over in detail. If we need to change anything up or down, we still have time to do so. But Johnny, how long have you been, considering going and, considering getting coverage from Miss Bailey?
It's been about I mean a few months now,
It's been
really.
about a few months now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And do you think you'd be able to sleep a little bit better at night knowing that your wife's protected if you were to pass away?
I mean, it definitely could be. I don't feel like I'm going anywhere now, but it definitely would help for
I
sure.
mean, yeah, I had a client named Ann Sipe from Clearwater, and I actually wrote a policy on her. And then under a week later, she had a seizure and died in a hot tub. Yeah. So I mean, we all don't know we all know our date of birth. We don't know our date of death, right? I mean, wouldn't it make sense to at least know if we could qualify for something like that? And then you could obviously figure out where you want to be on the affordability scale. But Johnny, you don't want to be remembered for the guy that passed away or didn't have any coverage for his wife, do you? I mean, how embarrassing would that be?
Yeah, that would be pretty embarrassing, especially because I do really care for her.
Awesome. Great. What's your middle initial? Let's just see if we and then just push it through, right? But like you gotta kind of the idea is get on their side. Don't be too abrasive about it. But kind of make them visualize, especially if it's a guy. What I'll do for guys is I'll make them be like, yeah, you don't want to be remembered like that, do you? Like I'll kind of play it on their ego, right? Because
Mhm.
guys, you can't get too emotional because we don't like that shit. But if you could kind of make them like visual at all, you're not gonna get that. Okay, so that objection right there, you're not gonna ever get that if you like where we came from, our team at SFG, like if you do a good job of making the person you speak to visualize like how shitty it's going to be for Bailey, if you pass away, you get sick and you can't pay the bills. Like if you actually said like, yeah, imagine, having her have to, pass around the hat at church or go on Facebook, a GoFundMe, or maybe
Yeah.
she have to ask her dad. Like, do you think that would be embarrassing for her? Of course. Like if you make them visualize that, you're never going to get that. You know what I mean? If you get
Yeah.
that objection, you didn't build enough pain. If you build enough pain, I mean, like, it should be a very, very easy sale. You shouldn't be getting that objection. You should be getting back end objections like banking, social occasionally. Like, that's the shit you should be getting for telesales, not, oh, like, I don't even think I want to do this right now. Like,
Yeah.
that just means you didn't build pain. Like, you never, I've never heard you got that. Oh, I don't want to do this right now. It's always like some other shit because we have to
Yeah.
ask him, build those questions that make him say, holy crap, like she is screwed.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's asking those consequence questions like what happens if you don't do anything about this? And like
Oh,
you push it down the line, like what happens to them at that point? What are they gonna have to
mm.
do? And asking those types of questions, which is huge. Like what would you say if somebody came to you, they're doing telesales right now, they're struggling, they're wanting to hit 30,000 a month. Like what are some tactical things that you would advise them to be able to do that?
Obviously, like analyze where you're getting your leads from. Are they good quality leads? Are they exclusive leads? Again, like I call it famusery in the industry is just astounding. I
Yeah.
mean, like like it's tough to know when you don't know like what they're writing, what they're like if you don't know any data. But I'd say the idea is I know like owning your own lead source. Like I don't know how you wouldn't want to do that these days with lead fraud from the IMOs. All right, I'm gonna piss a lot of people. I would never kill myself. I'm gonna make that very clear. If one of these IMOs come for me, it's not gonna end well if they do. Right? This is a stand your ground state. But I mean, you got to figure out your leads. I mean, like if there's any way for you to reduce lead cost, if you're not making a return on your leads, like, and it's been over 60 days and you just broken even, or you're losing money, it's been 60 days, something's horribly fucking wrong. I don't care what your upline says. Okay,
Yeah.
retarded. Like that should not be happening. Pardon my French. So analyze where you're getting your leads from. How much am I spending on leads? The business I'm submitting. Okay, say if this is like a final expense it, only be running instant issue carriers. Ideally, let's get a carrier that makes you pay on issue. Let's keep that cash flow going. Shout out to Great Western. Fix your billing though. Get Social Security billing if you guys
Yeah.
freaking get this. Damn it, Great
Yeah.
Western. Love you, but hate that. Let's make sure that we're getting paid on issue. Ideally, so Mutual of Omaha. I don't know if SBLI Living Legacy does that, but Great Western, Mutual of Omaha, simplify the shit out of your business, right? If you're running like
Yeah.
if you're running like 8 different carriers,
Yep.
first of all, you're going to get a shit ton of debt probably doing that, especially if you're not making much money. If you're not making much money already, that you're just asking for a roll up there. But to simplify it, let's get instant issue carriers. Let's simplify it. Let's really, really, get a third party look about what's going on with our leads. Chances are they ain't exclusive. Okay.
Yeah.
Chances are you're overpaying for them, right? That'd be my suggestion. So to summarize, really analyze and rethink your lead strategy. Whether you self-gen, I don't know. I mean, I don't see why other way to do it now. I mean, how many free lead vendors just went under because they can't resell leads anymore? Like, what does that tell you about the industry?
Yeah, a ton, dude, a ton. And that's like a lot of people say
Uh,
exclusive, especially when you're coming into the industry.
oh
Make
yeah,
sure that you're getting like exclusive leads and like that they're at a low cost, especially when you're working digital leads. Like you should not be paying more than like 10 to 15 bucks, like if that.
yeah,
The leads that we've been working have been like anywhere between $3 to $6 a piece and
uh-huh.
like lowering consistently. Like when I just started generating my own leads, I was getting like $1.50, $2 leads, and
Mm-hmm.
closing a ton of them. But like it really just comes down to like volume. Like telesales is a volume game. It's not like get 10 leads and close 5. Not
Oh
like
yeah,
kind of like a direct mail like mortgage protection type leads. It's like get
uh-huh.
100, you close 5 to 10, and you just kind of scale from there. So
Yeah,
volume is like absolutely key, especially when you're selling over the
absolutely,
phone.
absolutely. I remember I spoke to this gentleman. I think I don't know if you were on the call, but he was like, he was new to telesales, and I was like, he was like in a dial room, and I was like, he joined it, he got on like 12 in the afternoon, and I'm like, okay, that's already like kind of bugging me, and I'm like, how much money do you want to make in like a month? He's like, oh, like 20 grand. I'm like, how much dials have you done today? He's like, oh, like 22. I'm like, and what time is it in your time zone? He's like, oh, 12. I'm like, okay, so you're Eastern. I'm like, yeah, you should probably quit. Because you're not going to make it, bro. It's 12 o'clock. You've only done 20 dials.
Yeah,
Like,
so let's talk
you
about
kidding
that,
me,
dude.
bro?
Like,
It's not
what's your
going to happen.
schedule as a final expense telesales producer doing like 30 to 40,000 a month?
In production? Yeah, so what I
Yeah.
do, my dude, is here. You're going to be so proud of me, Johnny. I'm doing such a good job tracking my numbers like a good agent. So we're not even like, we're like just halfway through January. So let's look at December activity. Yeah, so like my schedule, like dude, like I don't like to call people before 8 a.m. their time. So for example, someone's mountain time. I'm not gonna call them at 8 o'clock my time because it's 6 o'clock their time.
Yeah.
Technically that's a TCPA violation. I don't know if you guys are into getting sued. It's not really what I'm into. All right. I don't like that. So I don't call any earlier than 8 a.m. local time. But I typically get in front of my computer anywhere between 8 to 8:30. Sometimes in the morning, I got to smash out some emails, do what I got to do. But 8 to like 12, it's like I am just ripping Kixie. Shout out to Kixie. You guys are great. Until I get one sale. Like I don't even eat. It's just caffeine, nicotine, and water. That is it. Okay. Andrew Tate,
Right.
I don't love him or hate him, but he
Funny
mentions like don't eat until you get a sale. So I mean that freaking keeps you sharp too, right? So the idea is one before 12, ideally two before 12. But if you could get that one win before 12 and you just build that momentum, it's fantastic.
Yep.
Right? So anywhere between 8 to 12, and then typically you're going to get less pickups between 1 to 3, I find. So typically around then, if I haven't gotten like a second sale or one sale, I'll still be dialing. But then that's when I'll call carriers or I'll call clients to get them back on the books, or let people know that they've been approved, or whatever, just typical bullshit, right? But I try to condense that into 45 minutes, an hour maximum, and then I'm
Yep.
back on the phones because typically around 4ish, 5ish, that's when more leads start coming in, right? But the morning is like that's money time. That's when you're like ripping the phones. Like I don't, my email's not even open. Like nothing is open. It's just dialer. That's it. Because 8 to
Yeah.
12, like that's money time. And if you don't have an app by 12, like you should be shitting. Like it's like you should be like, oh shit, I don't have an app.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah. It's like that's your only priority, especially when you're like selling is just getting that cash flow going and selling right away. And selling like at least a policy a day, if not 2 to 3. And
Yeah.
you've had big days, especially selling telesales, to where it's like you hit 4 apps, 5 apps in a day, which is crazy. And so like it just comes with follow-ups and consistently doing the work over and over and over again. And you're
Uh-huh.
super consistent, dude. Like you're the first one up. You're on the phone dialing by 8, and you're consistently just hitting your numbers all the time. And by the way, like what Max was saying, like tracking your data, the reason why you track your data is so that you can actually figure out like how you scale. Because if you don't understand that, it's going to be a nightmare for sure.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
so
Like you should know how many dials it takes for you to make a sale. Like for example, for December it was 103 dials per sale. Average APV $1,198.81. We submitted 25K in business. We had a 66% closing ratio. We had a 20% contact to Prezzo ratio. 14 dials 14 dials to get to a contact. Like you got to know this shit because it's motivating. Because like it's so easy in this job to be like, oh, these leads suck. Which the leads only suck when you're not selling. Okay, it's funny how
yep.
that works, right?
Yeah.
But you can always just look at that and be like, okay, I'm being a little pussy. I just need to make like 30 more dials, and statistically, I'll get another sale,
Yeah.
right?
And it really comes down to like asking the question, what problem are we trying to solve? And the only way you can ask that question, actually figure out what's going on, is like figuring, like having your numbers right in front of you, so you can scale or can't scale, and you don't know if something's actually working or not. Like numbers won't lie. So that's why track your data, because the more data you have, the more well-informed and educated decision that you can make. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
Max is tracking these numbers because he's wanting to scale to a certain amount a month. So it's like that's why he has the numbers in front of him. So it's like, hey, if you want to manufacture a $20,000, $30,000 a month, this is how many dials literally I need to make. This is how
Mm-hmm.
many leads we need to generate. This is how many presentations I need to be doing. And over time, it's going to get better and more refined. So you can just be like manufacturing these numbers left and right, which is cool.
Oh, hold on. I got to stop you right there. Another thing, if an agent's not making money, is you got to really consider your contract with your fucking IMO. Oh my gosh. Just because you're at like 110 contract, yeah, but like what's the actual commission grid? And if your IMO won't show you a commission grid, that's like a huge red flag. Like anytime you're talking to potentially get contracted with like an FMO, an IMO, whatever they want to call themselves, you should be able to say, hey, let me see commission grids. Okay. So you need to be getting good contracts. Now, if you're a licensed, it's an LOA.
Why is that important for somebody who might not know?
Oh my gosh, why is it not important? Okay, well, Johnny, say if you were to do the same amount of work,
like to know that stuff and see that.
You got to know how much money you're going to make if you sell a policy, right? I mean, how would you feel, Johnny, if we both issued 20,000, issued paid, okay, right? But I'm at a 120, and you're on an 80. Okay, who's going to make more money? I'm going to make 40% more, actually, right? So, yeah. I mean, it's going to be kind of let me backpedal a bit here. If you're a new agent and you expect to be started at a 120, it's just not going to happen. I mean, I wouldn't give it to you, nor is anybody else. So you got to prove your production. You got to prove you can sell. You got to prove you're consistent. You got to prove that you could pay off debts. That's going to happen. So don't come out the gate saying I want a 120 because they're going to laugh at you. But I mean, if you're an experienced producer and the products that you're getting and you're selling consistently, like you're not getting a good contract rating, I mean, like that's fucking bullshit. I mean, like, and when it comes to the whole like MLM, like we're all a family thing. I mean, like that's like that's just retarded in my opinion. It's like, okay, so you're my family. We're all one big family, but you're making up to 45% spread on a product that I can make. I could go to this. I could go somewhere here, and I can make 40% more.
Yeah.
I mean, bro, let's be real here. This is business. I didn't come to this business to make friends. I came here to make money. Right. So, yeah. I mean, know your worth as a producer too. Like if you're a consistent producer, you're not making money. I mean, go shop around. I mean, everything's negotiable. Right. I know that's the name of the game. So I'm not saying to be a contract whore, but like if you're a good producer, I mean, you got to dial in your contracts, at least ask. I mean, shit.
Yeah, dude, for sure. You won't get if you don't ask, which is huge. As we kind of wrap up here,
people dude, with that one. Sorry.
What would you say like is your best kind of like telesales advice if somebody's wanting to like become a savage on the phone?
Have good infrastructure. I mean, if you don't have good infrastructure, you're just not going to make it. Yeah. So I'd recommend get Kixie. I don't get any freaking kickback for this, by the way.
People ask me all the time, dude, like, do I have an affiliate deal with them? And I'm like, no, dude, they just have a good product.
How are we going to give you like, we don't even have an affiliate link to give you. Like, what a retarded question. So, I mean,
go to the website.
Yeah, say Max Bigger sent you. No, I'm kidding. No, but you got to have good infrastructure. So you got to be getting, if you're doing outbound, final expense, one call, closed leads, you need a lot. It's just the reality. And you're going to need to accept that you're going to be doing a lot of dialing. You need to get people to pick up the phone. Okay, so in order to do that, we need a CRM.
Yep.
Because we're doing a lot of dials, and we're going to need some sort of local presence dialer. The only one that I'm aware of is Kixie. Kixie's great. Okay, so you first need the infrastructure. So summarize: leads, dialer. Okay, you also need to have basic skills. Okay, if you're new, okay, no problem with being new. Everyone's new at one point, but you need to be with a team, ideally in a dial room, that can listen to you dial and constantly say, hey, we need to do this. Because if you're doing this by yourself, it's just like, that's going to be ugly and you're going to waste a lot of money, right? So get with a good team and then get good contracts and get, very simple applications, right? So ideally we want to do voice signatures. We want to do text signatures, right? Getting freaking Edith, who's 78 years old, to open up her email, do a DocuSign that's going to redirect her, and then just turn off pop-up blocker. I mean, you're just going to lose sales that way. I mean, yep. Right? Make it as easy for them as possible, and let's ideally stick with carriers that are going to be, instant issue and pay on issue. Ideally, I mean, that's not always the case for everybody. And let's lock down that business. Let's really, really lock down that business, or tie that business down, or cool down the sale, whatever you want to call it, to make yourself feel special. But those three things are super, super important. So infrastructure, team, good e-apps with a good contract, ideally. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have much negotiating if you're a brand new agent, but you'll prove yourself soon. And then good contracts, and then you should be able to do that. And you got to be consistent. That consistency is the hardest thing in this industry, right? Because it's not an easy industry, and I don't believe everyone can do it. So if everyone says everyone can do it, I'm going to strongly disagree with you on that.
Yep. Yeah, dude. Well, this is bro, this is some good stuff, and appreciate you coming on here, man. Looking forward to seeing your success moving forward, especially in this industry, crushing telesales, helping a bunch of agents do this as well.
I'm not helping them. Whoa, 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 whoa. You could go to your upline for help. I'm not freaking helping you. I mean, we could be pals and we could like talk and like discuss word tracks, but I'm not like gonna freaking recruit you and do all that shit. I don't care. That's not my job.
Dude's a closer. He knows how to that's all he does. He
Just
just
want to run
sells
business,
policies.
baby. But yeah, I
So,
mean, we could be pals, but like I'm not gonna like hold your hand through the process because that's not my fucking job. Sorry, just not gonna do it.
yep.
Not yet, at least.
Not yet, dude. Not yet, but soon. Soon. Yes, sir. Well, appreciate you guys watching all the way till the end of the video. Max is a savage. Guys, go follow him on Instagram. I don't know
Max is well Baker. Is that my Instagram is? Sorry, I've been trying to stay off it. Too many hot girls on there distracting me.
Max as well, you said?
Max is well Baker.
Max as well, Baker. Go follow him on Instagram. Follow along in his journey. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Share this with a friend as well that's wanting to transition over the phone. If you want to be like Max, just keep doing the work. Stay consistent. And I guarantee you could probably be just like him as well. See you guys in the next video. Peace.